They thought he froze to death, a man, alone, caught in a storm. Just another tragedy swallowed by the mountains. For years, that was the answer. Then they looked closer, and what they found in his DNA didn't just change the story, it shattered it. September 19th, 1991. Two German hikers, Helmut and Ötzi Iceman, are making their way through the Ötztal Alps, a mountain range sitting on the border between Austria and Italy. It's a clear day, a routine trek. Then Helmut stops. Something is sticking out of the ice near a rocky gully at 3,210 meters above sea level. He thinks it's a doll, maybe old equipment, maybe a discarded bag. He gets closer. It's a body, face down, partially submerged in meltwater, skin the color of dark leather, hair still attached, clothes, or what's left of them, still clinging to the frame. The body isn't fresh. It's clear this person has been here for a very long time. Authorities are called, archaeologists arrive, and then the dating tests begin. The result stops everyone in the room. This man died approximately 5,300 years ago. He wasn't a recent victim. He wasn't a missing hiker. He was a window, a direct, physical window, into the Copper Age. They named him Ötzi, after the valley where he was found. And for a moment, the world was simply amazed that he existed at all. The first question was obvious. How did he die? The body was found at extreme altitude. The Alps are brutal in any season, but in late autumn, they are lethal. Temperatures drop fast. Storms move in without warning. Exposure kills quickly. The working theory made perfect sense. Otzi, researchers believed, had been caught in a sudden cold snap. He sat down, perhaps to rest, and the mountain took him. It was a logical conclusion. The location supported it. The altitude supported it. The preservation itself supported it, because bodies that freeze quickly can remain intact for thousands of years without decomposing. He even had food in his stomach, ibex meat, red deer. Einkorn wheat, a meal eaten just hours before death. That's not the diet of a man running for his life. That's a man who sat down, ate, and rested. So scientists moved on. They cataloged his tools, his clothing, his copper axe. They studied his tattoos, over 60 of them, possibly medicinal. They analyzed his gut bacteria. His DNA, otzi, became one of the most studied humans in history. And somewhere in all of that data, buried under years of analysis, was a detail no one expected. Modern science has a way of revisiting the past with ruthless precision. CT scans, full genome sequencing, forensic imaging technology that can see through 5,000 years of time. Researchers at the European Academy of Bolzano began running Ötzi through the kind of analysis that simply hadn't been possible before. They scanned every centimeter of his body. They mapped every bone, every tissue layer, every joint. And then they looked at his left shoulder. There was something there that had been noted before, but dismissed. A small, dark shape, dense, unusual. When the imaging results came back, the room went quiet. It was an arrowhead, flint, sharp, and buried deep in his left shoulder, just beneath the skin, having torn through muscle, clipping a major blood vessel on its way in. Ötzi hadn't frozen to death. He had been shot. The arrow had entered from behind. That detail matters. It means Ötzi didn't see it coming. He wasn't in a face-to-face fight. He wasn't defending himself when the shot was fired. He was struck from behind, at close range, while moving through the mountains. The arrowhead had severed a subclavian artery, one of the major vessels running beneath the collarbone. Damage to that artery means rapid, catastrophic blood loss. Ötzi would have been dead within minutes, and the arrow shaft, it had been removed. Only the stone tip remained, lodged in the wound. Someone pulled out that shaft after the shot. Why? To leave no trace? To recover a valuable tool? To make sure he couldn't be identified as a target? We don't know. But this was no accident, no tragic storm, no peaceful end on a cold mountain. This was a killing, deliberate, precise, calculated. And whoever did it knew what they were doing. Here's where it gets complicated. If someone ambushed Ötzi, shot him, and left him for dead, you'd expect the scene to look like a robbery, a struggle, signs of chaos. But Ötzi's belongings were untouched. His copper axe, an incredibly valuable object in the Copper Age, the kind of item that signified wealth and status, was still with him. His tools were intact. His food was still in his stomach. Nothing was taken. So if this wasn't a robbery, what was it? The body position added another layer of confusion. Otzi was found lying face down, arm outstretched. Scientists believe he fell where he was shot and didn't move again. He didn't drag himself. He didn't crawl. He simply fell. No signs of a struggle at the scene. No defensive wounds in the immediate moments before death. At least none that pointed to a fight right there. The mountain gave up his body perfectly preserved, but it gave up almost nothing else. 3 theories have circled Otzi's death for years. None of them is proven. All of them are possible. The first is a simple ambush. An enemy, a rival, or a stranger. Someone who followed him into the mountains and waited for the right moment. 1 arrow, clean, efficient. The work of someone who wanted him dead and knew how to make it happen. The second theory is conflict. The Copper Age wasn't peaceful. Tribes competed for land, resources, and power. Otzi may have been a figure of authority. His axe suggests significant status. He may have been fleeing the aftermath of a raid or a battle, pursued into the high passes by enemies who caught up with him before he could escape. The third theory is betrayal. Someone he trusted. Someone who traveled with him, shared his food, knew his route. A companion who turned, or was sent to turn. The removed arrow shaft fits this version particularly well. It's the act of someone who didn't want evidence left behind. All 3 are plausible. None can be confirmed. And that silence, that maddening 5,000-year silence, is where the mystery lives. But there's one more layer to this. When researchers studied Otzi's full body in detail, they found injuries that had nothing to do with the arrow. His hands showed deep cuts, specifically between the thumb and index finger on his right hand. These are classic defensive wounds, the kind of injuries you get when you grab a blade. He had been in a fight before, recently before his death, based on how the wounds had begun to heal. His ribs showed signs of old fractures. His joints showed stress. His body told the story of a man who had lived hard and moved fast. Otzi wasn't just a victim caught at the wrong moment. He may have been running from something for days, maybe longer. Something happened, a confrontation, a conflict, a moment of violence, before he ever reached that ridge. He was already wounded, already hunted perhaps. And whoever fired that arrow may have been finishing something that started far away, long before Otzi ever sat down to eat his last meal. What Otzi reminds us is that science doesn't just answer questions. Sometimes it tears up answers we thought we already had. For decades, the story was simple. A frozen man, a cold death, a sad but ordinary end. Then came the CT scanner, the genome sequencer, the forensic eye that doesn't assume, doesn't guess, just looks. And everything changed. Otzi is not the only ancient mystery waiting to be re-examined. There are thousands of remains, thousands of sites, thousands of accepted histories that modern tools haven't fully touched yet. Every answer we think we have might be the next assumption waiting to be broken. Otzi lay in that glacier for 5,300 years, undiscovered, undisturbed, frozen at the moment of his death, still carrying the evidence of whoever wanted him gone. We know he was murdered. We know he suffered. We know someone pulled that arrow from his shoulder and walked away, believing the mountain would keep their secret forever. And for 5 millennia, it did. His name is lost. His killer's name is lost. The reason, the real reason, is buried somewhere in a world we will never fully see. His body was frozen in time, but his story is still bleeding,